Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're jumping right into the absolute capstone of the Wealth Decode curriculum, day 30 of their online income challenge. This specific segment highlights what the author is calling the fastest growing, most accessible income opportunity heading into 2026, and that's building an AI automation agency. We aren't just going to skim the surface here either. We're going to break down the actual mechanics of this model to see exactly why it's positioned as such a unique, massive window of opportunity. So, AI automation agencies, the blueprint for 2026. Now, the Wealth Decode curriculum covers a ton of ground, right? Everything from Pinterest strategies to digital products, but this final section targets a very specific, glaring gap in the market. Look, small business owners hear about artificial intelligence literally every single day. It's on the news, it's all over their social feeds. But the reality? They have absolutely no idea how to actually implement it into their daily operations. They know it's powerful, for sure, but the setup is a total mystery to them. And you know what? That exact knowledge gap is where this opportunity lives. The source text points out a really stark shift in business models here. Think about running a traditional business for a second. You're usually dealing with physical products, which means you're managing inventory, stressing over shipping logistics, absorbing physical overhead costs. Honestly, it's heavy. The AI agency model completely flips that script. Instead of pushing physical goods, you're effectively selling time. You are selling digital efficiency by setting up systems that completely automate mundane tasks. It's a massive pivot from managing stuff to engineering time-saving solutions, which, let's be real, is a resource every single business owner desperately wants more of. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly do we automate? It's the million-dollar question, right? What specific, day-to-day tasks would a local business owner actually pull out their credit card and pay someone to take off their plate? To really grasp how viable this model is, we have to kind of cut through the tech buzzwords and pinpoint the real, everyday headaches these owners are begging to solve. Well, the blueprint targets those operational bottlenecks that are just incredibly common across almost every industry. Picture a stressed-out business owner just completely drowning in repetitive chores. We're talking about endless email replies, tedious document processing, scheduling out social media posts, handling basic customer support, constantly updating the CRM. These are the exact friction points that totally bog businesses down and eat up hours of human capital. By setting up AI to handle these specific repetitive tasks, you're providing undeniable, measurable value. You're literally handing hours back to the owner and their staff every single week. And here is the massive sigh of relief for anyone out there who might be a little intimidated by the tech side. You absolutely do not need to be a software developer to do this. Seriously, no coding required. You don't have to write a single line of code. The current generation of beginner automations relies heavily on visual drag-and-drop builders. It's basically like snapping digital Legos together. You're just drawing a visual line from one application to another to create an automated trigger. This total democratization of the tech is exactly why the source material argues this is so incredibly accessible right now. The barrier isn't coding, it's simply understanding the logic of how tasks connect. So, the execution blueprint derived from the text is surprisingly straightforward. Step 1, learn one automation platform. Think foundational tools like NNN, Make.com, or Zapier. Just pick one. Step 2, this is where the magic happens. You build simple workflows by connecting those platforms to established AI models, like chatgpt or Gemini. And finally, step 3, offer those automations to local businesses, creators, agencies, or stores. You learn the logic, you build a functional workflow, and you hand it over to a business that desperately needs to scale without hiring more admin staff. Let's talk numbers, because when analyzing the baseline financials of this model, the barrier to entry is surprisingly reasonable. You aren't expected to chase after these impossible six-figure enterprise contracts right out of the gate. The guide notes that simple setups, maybe just connecting a couple of apps that end up saving a local business 3 or 4 hours a week, typically command between $100 and $500 per project. Remember, the business isn't paying for lines of code. They're paying for the immediate return on investment in their own time and operational bandwidth. And as your technical skills grow, so does the scalability of the whole model. While those initial simple setups start in the low hundreds, advanced multi-step workflows can easily scale into several $1,000s per project. Plus, the blueprint highlights what is pretty much considered the holy grail of agency work: maintenance. By charging a recurring monthly retainer just to monitor, update, and ensure the smooth running of the automations you've already built, you generate predictable, recurring revenue. Though, as the source material makes clear, your actual income will always rely heavily on the specific market you target and the tangible value your workflows deliver. Now, as lucrative as all this is, the source material explicitly warns about where beginners tend to fail. Mistake number 1, trying to learn every AI tool at once. The AI landscape moves so incredibly fast, it is so easy to get overwhelmed by shiny object syndrome every time a new tool drops on social media. The advice in the text is clear and rigid. Master one platform first. Pick one, like Zapier or Make, and completely master its logic before moving on. Deep competence in one single area is your biggest asset when you're starting out. Mistake number 2 is selling services before testing your own workflows. The absolute mandate here is to never, ever sell a workflow that you haven't thoroughly vetted in your own environment first. Your entire reputation in this space depends on the reliability of what you build. Think about it. If an automation breaks down and a client misses 100 important emails, you lose that client, for sure. So rigorously testing the system on your end before delivery is just absolutely non-negotiable according to the blueprint. And finally, mistake number 3, ignoring business communication. It is so easy to get lost in the tech stack and all the cool, flashy things AI can do. But listen, technical skills aren't everything. Understanding a client's specific bottleneck, actively listening to their pain points, and then explaining your solution to them in plain English, that is arguably way more vital than your technical ability. If a client doesn't understand exactly how your build helps their bottom line, the technical specs simply don't matter. Clear communication is literally the bridge between your technical skill and the client's wallet. Which brings us to the core philosophy of this entire blueprint, and it really comes down to the human value of the service. As the source material powerfully states, AI automation isn't about replacing people. It's about helping businesses eliminate repetitive work so they can focus on what matters most. This is such a crucial mindset shift. You aren't just selling API connections or software subscriptions. You are selling time, high-level strategy, and the freedom for business owners to actually focus on growing their companies instead of just managing the minutia. So, are you ready for day 31? To wrap up our explainer today, the Wealth Decode Guide makes a really compelling case that mastering these practical, no-code skills can yield an incredibly valuable service business over time. But I want to leave you with a thought to apply to your own daily life right now. If you could automate just one repetitive task today to magically free up 5 hours a week, what would it be? And honestly, what is genuinely stopping you from building it today? Think about that. We'll see you in the next explainer.